welcome back to the channel. Today I am back with another speed build per usual on Fridays, and we are making a pretty large home for a family. Kind of, I imagine this is like in the woods. I mean, it's in the countryside of Windenburg, so it is surrounded by a lot of foliage, and so that's kind of the idea I was going for. And I used a lot of the wallpapers that did come with Get Together that fit into this world really well, that are more of like a Tudor style wallpaper. I'm not sure if this house would be considered that type of house though. A little unsure on what classifies a home as a Tudor styled home, but it's actually a fairly large home that has 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. It only has one of all the main living areas, and the dining area, I believe, is in the kitchen. So there's not a separate dining room, but there is that separate glass section you can see off to the side, which ends up being kind of like a sunroom with a bar. It's just a really relaxing area. But anyway, we are fiddling with the roof now, and I absolutely love how this house came out. I love the roof line so very much, and it was just so much fun to experiment and to kind of fiddle with this house. And I'm very, very, very proud of this one. I'm like really excited to share this. So I hope you guys do like it. We ended up using a lot of the windows that came with Seasons in this because I love Seasons windows and I love cats and dogs windows, but I think the Seasons ones fit a little bit better for this house because I really wanted it to be a very vibrant, deep, I don't know the right word, like a very vibrant brown color. Like these windows are a very reddish brown, and that's kind of the color scheme I really wanted to go for. And so I thought they worked really, really well for this house. And I'm probably going to continue to use these windows in way too many builds because I love them so much. I also can't wait to get back to building some more stuff this weekend because I've been getting so many cool suggestions from you guys on some builds you'd like to see. And I know earlier this week I had taken one of those suggestions and made a video out of it. So I'm really excited to do some more of that because I've been having so much fun building, especially taking some suggestions. So keep those coming. If there's anything you'd like to see on the channel, I'd love to get some inspiration off of you guys and hopefully experiment a little bit more and bring some interesting content to the channel. One thing I really do want to do sometime soon though is some community lots, particularly probably a restaurant because I haven't done one of those in a while. But if there are other community lots you guys would like to see, please let me know what those are in the description. Not in the description, I don't know why I always say that. In the comments down below, and we shall see what we can do. But the outside of this house is really coming together now, and I'm in love with this house. It is so pretty. I don't know, I'm just very happy with it. I think it's a really interesting shape, and I did cut out most of the landscaping in this because there was quite a lot of it, and I didn't want this video to be too long. So apologies for that, but I show glimpses of it here and there. Anyway, that is pretty much the pathway we have in the front. There ends up being a ton of plants everywhere. Like I said, I cut most of it out. But we also have this fence that goes around the perimeter of the property, and we end up lining it with more bushes just to kind of have a little bit more depth to the build. I don't include all of that because it takes a very long time, but I include some of it. So I end up going around the entirety of the fence, and then we have a variety of plants in here as well, which I just thought looked really nice to kind of, make it fuller and more lived in and just alive, really. And I did use a bunch of plants that I typically use, but I also used a couple plants that I don't typically use, so I thought it was kind of a good way to experiment a little bit, like have some old favorites, but also include some plants. I almost called them builds. Some plants that I don't typically use. And so this is the pool area back here. We added a pretty big pool, and we have like some nice seating, and of course like a tree back here as well. I just have like a little area sectioned off. There's a lot of trees in this yard. I think there's like 5 or 6 large trees in the yard, and then tons of actual plants around. And here we are lining the perimeter a little bit more with these bushes. I just think it looks so much nicer this way, so I thought that would be kind of nice to do. And this was a decently sized home. I think it's on a 40 by 30 if I'm remembering correctly, but it's one of the lots in the countryside of Windenburg, so it's one of those. It'll be on the gallery if anyone would like to download it. It should be called Woodland Residence, and you can find it by searching my origin ID, which is Griffy, or the hashtag MsGryphi, because I put that in all of my builds so that it's easier to find since that's what my YouTube name is. But this is the seating area. I used a bench, or not a bench, a stool between the two, what are they called? The chairs, not the couch, to kind of act as a table between them because it's a little higher up. I thought that was kind of nice. And we're just adding a table and chairs out here as well so we can eat some food, and gonna add some decorations around it because I do most of the exterior of this build before I do the interior. So we're just adding a barbecue out here and a little rug, and it's pretty simple. We also have this fountain over here. It's not a fountain. Why do I call it a fountain? Wishing well. It's a fun time. I believe that came with romantic garden stuff if I'm remembering correctly. And it can do some not so good things and some good things. You can have some good wishes and you can bribe the well, and I'm sure you guys know that, but if you don't have romantic garden stuff, which is I'm pretty sure where that came from, you might not know that. But that's kind of a fun thing, and I feel like it fits in really well in Windenburg. But now we're in the interior, and this is the front hallway of the build. And it's pretty simple. Actually, this whole house has a little bit of a different furnishing style than I typically do, because it's a little bit more older styled furnished, I think, at least for like the main part of the house. It's a little fancier and a little bit less of a modern family home than I normally do. Not that I do like modern homes, but like, I mean like a modern day type family home is what I typically do. And I feel like I changed it up a little bit with this one. It's just furnished a little bit differently than I typically would, and I really, really like how it came out. So I hope you guys will too. This is the living room. It's really interesting because we have this fireplace on an angle over here. We end up putting a TV up on the mantle, and we end up having the entire room be on an angle. I eventually do go ahead and rotate the rug and the couches so that they're facing the fireplace and television instead of facing this way. And I thought it made for a much more interesting layout in this room. I also kind of have a section over there where we have a bookcase that I kind of built into the wall, which I thought looked really nice. I really enjoyed this living room because I feel like it's a lot different than ones I've done in the past. Also, this very vibrant reddish brown wood floor that we have throughout the house I thought was very, very nice and exciting. And we also end up adding a grand piano over here in the white swatch because I thought that complemented the fireplace very well. And I don't think I've ever used the white swatch on it. So I was really excited about that. And we're also layering some curtains in here, which I've been trying to experiment with more because I think it's a really interesting idea. So that's what we're doing over here. I really, really like it. And just going to add some more accessories throughout the room, some decorations, some plants, a nice little table behind the couch to put another little plant on. Just plants everywhere because I love plants. And just a couple of things on the wall. We stack some mirrors over here, and I believe add a painting as well. And I think that's pretty much it for the living room. I think it's one of my favorite rooms in the house, though. It's just really different from the other living rooms I've done in the past. It's just a very different style, and so I quite enjoyed it. We also add some cabinetry over here and make the archway a little bit smaller so that there was space to get in there. This kitchen I changed a million times, but we did end up going with these countertops from Jungle Adventure because they were this really dark wood swatch that I really wanted to incorporate into this room. I had originally been thinking Parenthood countertops with that like vibrant orangey brown color, but I didn't feel like it fit very well, even though that was kind of the vibe I was going for throughout a lot of the house. I thought that this just really dark brown fit this house really, really well. So we end up rotating this counter in a little bit so that we can fit in a dining table in this kitchen as well over by the window. You can kind of see where I'm trying to put it in right now, but we end up having to rotate the counter to be in a different orientation. The one thing is I didn't actually make them sittable counters or island counters. They're just regular counters, so your Sims should be able to sit in those chairs, but they're going to just hold their plate because it's not actually a regular counter. You can swap those out if you'd like to have those. I just thought it looked nicer to have them as regular counters instead of island counters. But that's just me. I do that sometimes just because I like to build for making things aesthetically pleasing. And as long as it makes it so your Sims can still do everything they need to do, I feel like it's fine, but that's an easy change. But anyway, we also end up swapping out the backsplash in here a bunch of different times. I think we ended up going with this one, but I feel like we changed it so many times that I'm not entirely sure. I cut out a ton of footage in this, so there might be some things I don't entirely remember. But we're just adding a bunch of clutter in here right now, and I don't know which room we work on next. I think it might be like the bathrooms are going upstairs, and I think I kept the bathrooms in this speed build because if I remember correctly, they're all very similar, but they're a little bit different. I think I kept them in. we don't use the same countertops that we're using in the kitchen. We use these ones, but they're all the same throughout the different rooms, and we just have different plants and mirrors and stuff so that they look like they're related and like put together to match throughout the house, but they're not identical, which I thought was really nice. That just made me think of how like beauty people talk about how like your eyebrows are sisters, not twins. That's kind of what I was thinking of right now when I was describing these bathrooms. That's really weird. But that's just how my brain works. In this bathroom, we just have a tub, but I think the other ones throughout the house either have just a shower or a tub and a shower. And so there's 2 bathrooms on the main floor, and then upstairs there's 1 main bathroom and an ensuite bathroom for the master. So that does come to be a total of 4 bathrooms, but one of them's an ensuite, so it's not like 4 main bathrooms. I don't know. We have an office in this house, which I almost forgot about. It's actually a really weird shape, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this room. It's not my favorite, but like I think it's different. It's definitely different. So we end up having bookcases against this wall, and I believe we put the desk at an angle, and then over in this corner we end up putting one of those bay seats that we got with cats and dogs, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. It's kind of weird and shoved in the corner. But I also think that would be a cozy corner to cuddle up with a book. So I kind of like it in that regard. But that's pretty much what this office is. We just add a couple of plants and books and a rug, like a couple of little accessories throughout here. It's nothing too crazy. And keep it just pretty simple. Just a nice little office. It's very clean. And I think it'll be a good place for your Sims to just go get some work done, work on their career and stuff. So this is another one of the bathrooms, and as you can see, we're grabbing the same countertops because we're trying to make them look very similar, but not the same, and you can see it right there. I just decided on the spot, yeah, I want a different mirror in this bathroom. I don't want it to be the same as the other ones. And I just kind of kept that vibe going through the rest of the bathrooms, as I wanted them to look very, very similar, just not exactly the same. And then we are working on the sunroom, which I just used some of these couches from Cats and Dogs because they just kind of have that like grandma or like older furniture vibe to me. So I'm thinking maybe they were old furniture that they may have inherited from some family members that may have passed on, or somebody got rid of some furniture and it was spare furniture, or maybe just their old furniture from before they moved into this nice house and they thought it would be good for their sunroom. It just kind of gives me those vibes, all of those things. It could have been any of those. So we just kind of have some surfaces in here and some plants and some lamps and a bar. And it's just a really cozy place to just hang out, have a couple of drinks, listen to some music, and I just think entertaining in there would be really nice. Now we're in the upstairs hallway, and I really love the wallpaper that I use through most of this house that has the paneling on the bottom and the paint on the top. I don't use that very often, but I really liked that. But I didn't use that in the bedrooms, and so this is the master bedroom. It has like a purple tone to it, and as you can see, I kind of created a area for the bed to go against. And behind there, I hid a closet on one side and a door to the bathroom on the other side, which I thought worked out pretty nicely. And it's a very spacious bedroom. I quite like it, and I've been getting into using purple as a color in my bedrooms more often recently, but I think that's because of the new swatches we got with Seasons. They are just so pretty. And I loved the swatch of the bed that we're using here, which I believe is a base game bed, and so it inspired me to use like a similar swatch on the vanity, and I just really liked how this really light washed out purple and this kind of purpley gray went together. I really, really liked it because, I don't know, does anyone else see like purple in that gray? It's like a weird shade of gray or brown. I'm not sure. I see gray, but I could also see brown in it. I'm not sure. It's a weird shade, but I quite liked it, and I thought it would be a nice different master bedroom because I'm trying to do some different things here on the channel as far as my builds go. I think that's been obvious, but I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully it's been coming through. Of course, I'm going to still always do family homes, suburbans. I mean, this is a family home. But I do want to experiment a little bit and do things I don't typically do, like using the dinosaur wallpaper again. I honestly do not use this wallpaper very often at all, and I was just like, you're gonna use it today, you want it to look really cute. So I really liked that, and we also filled up these shelves with all kinds of toys and knickknacks to just kind of make it really lived in, and of course did the trick that everyone always does of raising up an ottoman into a dresser to make a cute little changing table. That is something I really do hope that one day we do get in the game. My hopes are not high for it, but I really would love to have more things for toddlers, for babies, and for elder Sims. I think those are the 3 age groups that don't have enough. And I would say babies and elders are at the top of my list because while toddlers don't have a ton, they definitely have more than the other 2 because we did get toddlers plus like the toddler stuff pack last year. So they definitely have more. We really need a baby revamp and just more things for elders to do. And I know I've talked about that in a previous video before, so I'm not going to rant about that too much right now. But we're just adding a couple more toys in here, and we kept it very, very purple. I think it's really, really cute. So 2 of the bedrooms are purple in this house. They're not blue though, so that's good. I'm trying to think what the colors the other 2 rooms are. One of them is a very green theme, and then the other one, it looks like it's blue right now, but it changed. It's like blue, red, and orange. I based it off of a bed from Parenthood. But in here, we're using one of the beds from Seasons, which I really like. And I kind of imagine this was a very athletic teenager. So we end up getting rid of the treadmill, but we keep the punching bag and we add some yoga mats, and there is all kinds of athletic posters around. So I imagine this person really likes getting outside and exercising and yoga and just kind of clearing their mind, and they love the color green because it reminds them of nature. So that's the sim I was imagining in this house. Probably kind of a free spirit athletic teenager. So I don't know, I thought it was a different type of bedroom that I haven't done before, so I thought it would be kind of fun. And so that is pretty much this room. We're just adding a couple little things under the television over here. I thought the TV would be good for doing some workouts on that, since they added that with the fitness the fitness stuff pack, because for some reason there wasn't a ability to do workouts on the TV in the base game, which I always thought was weird because I did that a lot in The Sims 3. Whenever my Sims needed to work out, I was just like, oh, just go to the TV and do like Richard Simmons. I'm sorry, my grandma was obsessed with Richard Simmons like back in the day. So whenever I think of like workout television, I just think of Richard Simmons because my grandmother had every single thing he made on VHS. It was just so funny. Anyway, this is the room that ends up being a blue, orange, and red. As you can kind of tell from that bed, that's just where the colors came from. It's a very vibrant room, and I feel like it doesn't quite match the rest of the house, but I've said this before in builds that I feel like bedrooms, particularly for teenagers and kids in houses, don't really have to match the same style as the rest of the house, because I feel like a lot of times they're very customized to those kids. And there's a little bit more color and freedom when it comes to kids' bedrooms. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that, but that's kind of how I feel and what I've experienced growing up going to people's houses and in my own house as well. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Oh my gosh, I'm like, this is way too much information. There's like too much saliva in my mouth right now, and I'm just like, eh. So I apologize. Yes, I apologize if it just sounds like I'm slurring all over my words right now. But anyway, this is the final bathroom. Once again, trying to make it look similar but different. So we have another mirror. I think it's the final bathroom. Or did I not do the master bathroom? I don't think I did the master bathroom. But we're just adding the last couple of things in here. Nothing too crazy. But we are coming to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Like I said, it will be on the Sims 4 gallery. If you'd like to download it, that information will be in the description down below. And if you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know that you liked it. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel so you can be updated on all of the new content coming. And you can click the notification bell to be notified as soon as any video is posted. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, everybody.